Hey guys, Mike Cook, Agency Manager here at the ISS Insurance Group here in Mattoon on Charleston Avenue. We've got special guests here with us today, Will Bates of Central Roofing out of Sullivan. He's an expert in the roofing field, I would say, for sure, because this guy has put on close to right at 400 roofs this year. When you think about that, that's an astonishing number. When you think the only roof probably about 2/3 of the year anyways. That's amazing. So what we're going to talk about today, Will and myself, is what the process looks like when you would have a roof claim. I'm going to talk a little bit about insurance side of it, the deductibles and such like that, to see your policies and everything. And Will's going to talk about like when him and his guys go out into the field and they look at your house and work with the adjusters and making sure that you get your roof put back on your house the way it was and the way it should be. So real quick on one other item though, just remember today is the last day of open enrollment, so if you haven't taken care of your health insurance, please do give us a call. Let's get that knocked out for you. Because if you do not, you will receive a fine at the end of the year of 2018. So if you haven't done it, please look into it. So real quick on roofing, deductibles, home deductibles, that type of thing. The most common deductible you're going to see anymore is one of two things. You're either going to have a $1,000 deductible, or you're going to have a percentage of it. What your home is insured for, or your coverage A. So for that example, let's say you have a home, it is insured for $300,000. Your deductible, of course, is going to be $3,000 if it is a 1% deductible. You can have a 1, a 2, a 3, and I've seen up to a 5 on that. Most generally though, you're going to have a 1%. A lot of the bigger insurance companies went to this probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and slowly the $1,000 deductibles are starting to leave some of the smaller companies, but some of the smaller ones still do have this 1,000, and there is maybe a company or two that would still have a 5, but most generally this is what you're going to see. The big reason I bring these things up about your 1,000 and also your percentage deductibles. So let's say we have a hailstorm come through, or we have some big winds like we had here just the other night on, I believe it was Tuesday night. Anyway, so let's say you lose maybe 8 to 10 shingles, and you give us a call. I highly encourage you, if you ever have any type of claims, to give us a call so we can help you out through that process. What we're going to advise you to do, if it's a smaller item, is to go and have a contractor such as Will with Central Roofing come out and look at your damage. The reason why I say that, because if you go and automatically turn in a claim and it does not reach this $1,000 amount, or if you have a percentage, and it does not reach that, you will end up having what they consider a zero paid claim on your record. So, zero paid. Now that may not sound like that big of a thing, but what it is claims is looked at as a frequency type item. So the more you have, the more risk you are, the bigger your premiums will be. So if you're going to turn in a claim, make sure it's worth it. I mean, of course, if your roof blew off, let's for sure get it knocked out. But if it's on a smaller such item, let's make sure it's going to be over your deductible amount so you do not run into this. I have seen this way more than I can ever imagine to count. And a lot of folks didn't even understand it because they said, I turned it into my insurance company and they just thought they were going to take care of it. So again, smaller items, give a gentleman like Will a call, and we'll kind of talk about what you see when you go out to look at these houses.
Yeah. Again, I'm Will Bates. I'm with Central Roofing out of Sullivan. I want to thank Mike and everybody here at the ISS Group for having me in here today. I guess I'll just walk you through kind of what happens if a storm hits, whether it be a windstorm or a hailstorm, or a tornado or a fire even, and kind of what steps to take after that. I always tell our customers if they call us, I say, hey, go ahead and let your insurance company know that, hey, we had hail here, or we've had a bunch of wind, I noticed shingles in my yard, or siding was blown off my house, whatever it may be. Go ahead and let them know, and then call us or any contractor. Just make sure they're licensed and insured. And it's good to call a contractor that's pretty experienced in the insurance loss field. You want somebody that's going to know exactly what hail damage looks like to your shingles, or you want somebody that can identify, like, hey, okay, you're missing 4 shingles, but your roof is only 5 years old, so that's going to be a repairable thing. So something like that is not going to justify an insurance claim. If the rule of thumb is kind of 15 years or less, if your roof is in pretty good shape, and let's say it's only 8 years old, and we go up there and we say, okay, your roof's in good shape, it's repairable, it's going to take 3 or 4 shingles, then there's really no point in filing a claim because that loss is going to be less than your deductible. So if you've got, $1,000 deductible, like Mike said, and your claim is only going to cost your repairs are only going to cost $300, then you're better off just paying for those repairs and getting it done without having to file a claim. There's nothing wrong with filing a claim if you need to, and I think, that's why everybody has homeowners insurance, is for cases like that. So the first thing to do though, call Mike, let him know, hey, we had hail or we had wind here, and then call us or another contractor. We'll come out and look at it and we'll say, okay, you should file a claim on this because it's, you're going to need half a roof for a complete replacement. And then kind of the steps that happen after that are basically, we'll look at it, we'll say, hey, file a claim, and then you'll call Mike here or your insurance company and you'll say, hey, I need to file a claim. This was the storm date. We had a contractor come out and, visibly inspect the damage. And from there, they will assign that to a field adjuster. The field adjuster will then schedule a date to come out and take a look at it himself. And we always recommend having the contractor that looked at it there to meet with the adjuster because, everybody's human, so I miss stuff, the adjuster missed things, and if everybody's kind of there at once, then we can say, hey, don't forget to look at the gutters or the fascia or, whatever got damaged. So basically your adjuster will call, he'll say, okay, I'm gonna be there, let's say Friday at 2 o'clock. And then you just let your contractor know, hey, he's coming Friday at 2. So then everybody can meet, on that day and they can go over all the damage. Your adjuster will actually write up his own report. So they use a program, whether it be Xactimate or Symbility, they use an estimating software to actually come up with how much that repair is going to cost. So, you can get a lot of estimates and stuff, but your adjuster is going to come up with how much they're basically going to pay on the claim. And then them and the contractor can kind of work it out and see, to make sure that you're well covered. So, and as far as like a payment breaks down on a claim, basically they're going to say, okay, our program came up with $12,000 worth of damage, we'll say. Can I steal your side?
Oh, yes, I do, Mr. Reed.
Okay, so they're going to say there's $12,000 worth of damage, and then we were talking about deductibles. Let's say you have a $1,000 deductible. So they're going to say, okay, we're going to take out $1,000 out of that claim for your deductible, which the homeowner is responsible for paying, to the contractor.
And that's paid to you, right, Mr. Woods?
Right.
Yes.
And that's kind of a common misconception too, that a lot of homeowners think that they need to pay the insurance company $1,000, but that actually gets deducted from the claim. They're going to basically say, okay, we're going to give you up to $11,000 to do the repairs to your property. And then they are going to depreciate it. So, there's 2 different types of policies. There's actual cash value and there's replacement cost. I would always recommend going with a replacement cost policy unless, you and your agent figure out that that's maybe not the best way to go for your property. But 9 times out of 10, if you'd agree, I would say,
yes,
always go with the replacement cost policy. And I'll get into why.
Just real quick on that as well with actual cash value and replacement costs. We did do a video on that here a couple weeks ago, and it does not cost you that much more money to be able to have everything you have at full replacement cost instead of market value or actual cash value.
Yep. So let's say this is a replacement cost policy or RCV. Basically, so you're at $11,000 that they will give you up to. So at first, they will write you a check for those damages. Let's say your roof is 10 years old. they're going to depreciate that at a percentage and maybe only write you a check for $8,000 up front. So they will go ahead and write you a check for $8,000 and say, okay, go ahead and get the work started. And then, because I get a lot of customers, that call me and say, well, I've only got a check for $8,000, and they said they were going to pay me $11,000. And basically where that comes in is they're going to write you the check for $8,000, and then once you get the work completed and you submit your contractor's invoice, we always actually submit it for our customers. So basically, if the insurance company pays for your roof, you pick a color and that's all you do.
That's another reason that folks use Central Roofing. There's a lot of folks out here that do not do that. So the customer service that this gentleman provides is top notch.
Yeah, and we've done thousands of insurance claims over the years, from Denver, Colorado to Albany, New York. We've done them all over the place. We've worked with probably every insurance company that's out there. We've worked with ISS before on claims, and they've been nothing but satisfaction from us. So to get back into this though, let's say, so it's a $12,000 claim. They took your deductible out, so they're going to pay you up to $11,000. They're going to cut you the check up front for $8,000, and this is called your actual cash value payment. If you had an actual cash value policy, then that is all you get. You would get no depreciation or anything. So that's why it's to pay the couple of dollars extra every month or year or whatever. Right. It's worth getting that replacement cost value, because after we send our invoice into the insurance company, then they will send you the remaining balance for $3,000. And that's how you get your $11,000 total. So then the only thing you are out of pocket is your $1,000 deductible. So I always recommend going with a replacement cost value policy. And I always obviously recommend going with a licensed contractor. Here in the state of Illinois, if it's a commercial property, roofing companies have to have an unlimited license, is what they call it. And you can go to the state's website and find out who your licensed contractors or licensed roofers are in the area. There are two different types of licenses. There's unlimited and limited. And if they've got an unlimited license, that means they can do commercial, residential, industrial, basically any type of roofing. If it is a limited license, then they can only do single family dwellings. So just make sure they're insured, make sure they're licensed. I'm not saying go with us. I'm just saying, make sure, don't be afraid to check plenty of references. In this day and age, you can pretty much type the company's name online and find out anything you need to know about them. But that's pretty much all I've got on it.
That's good stuff. So in closing, just to kind of recap on some things, make sure you know what your deductible is. The differences, again, between replacement cost and ACV. If you do have a larger claim, by God, please do just call us right away. We will help you get somebody out there immediately and get that claims process started immediately as well. On some of your smaller items, though, please do again call us so we can go and set something up with the contractor. Call the contractor first, either way, before we actually turn something in, because I don't want you to have that zero pay claim within your insurance score and you have to go and pay a larger premium because somebody didn't help you walk you through that process.
Yeah, and that's another thing too I forgot to touch on was, if say it's a windstorm and you get, half your roof blown off, you can have the contractor immediately tarp it up, to where there's no interior damage. You don't have to worry about it. So the contractor can do a temporary repair, and the insurance company will reimburse for that.
Yes.
If it's someone like us, we don't charge you anything for a temporary repair. So, if it's right before Christmas, some people may not have that extra money to pay somebody to come, repair their roof out of nowhere. So we don't charge you for that. Basically, we tarp it up, and then we wait for the insurance company to basically pay you for it. So, it could take up to a month. It doesn't really matter. We know we're going to get paid. So, the insurance company is fine with that. They would rather see you tarp your roof and, them have to pay a little bit of money
for sure,
than have to pay for everything underneath that roof, for sure.
Yeah, that this creates a bigger problem at that time.
Right.
That's all I have today. Will, do you have anything else to add?
Yep, I think that's it. Thanks for listening, guys.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. Until next time.